Two businessmen fly over the New York traffic jam at the exact same altitude. One paid $250 for his seat using an app on his phone. The other paid $15 million for the helicopter and employs the pilot flying it. Same sky, same destination, completely different realities. Before I start, I already know. Someone is going to comment about fractional ownership. We'll get there. Level 1, the entry point. Helicopter sharing and airport transfers. This is where most people first experience private aviation. Companies like Blade. You open an app, book a seat for $200 to $800, and fly from the city center to the airport in 5 minutes. You skip the traffic, but you don't own anything. You share the cabin with strangers. It's designed to give you the illusion of wealth. The convenience is real. The flexibility is not. The helicopter leaves on schedule. If you're late, it leaves without you. And flexibility is the entire product from Level 2 onward. Level 2. Owner-flown light helicopters. This is where you actually buy the machine. You write a check for $1 to $1.5 million. But there is a catch. You are the pilot. Who is here? The successful local business owner, the top surgeon, or the real estate developer heading to their weekend lake house. For them, this isn't just transportation, it's an expensive hobby. They spent months getting their private pilot license just to bypass the Friday highway traffic. You finally have flexibility, but only when the weather is perfect. Flying a light single-engine helicopter in bad weather, or at night, is a huge risk. So sometimes your $1 million machine stays on the ground. And the biggest drawback? When you fly yourself to a party in the Hamptons, you can't drink. You bought the helicopter, but you also bought a second job. You are the crew. Level 3. Light twin-engine helicopters. And a payroll. This is where you stop pretending to be a pilot and hire a professional. You write a check for $3 to $6 million. Who is here? The regional CEO or mid-market private equity partner who realize that flying the aircraft themselves is a distraction. They need to work, take calls, or sleep during the flight. Not look at gauges. 2 engines mean redundancy. It means you can legally and safely fly at night and over densely populated cities. Bad weather stops being an excuse. But at this level, aviation becomes a business operation. You're now paying a guy a 6-figure salary to sit in a sterile lounge for 8 hours a day, just waiting for you to finish your meetings. You didn't just buy a machine. You bought an infrastructure to ensure you never have to wait for anyone else again. Level 4. The flying boardroom, medium, and super medium corporate workhorses. You're now writing checks between $10 and $15 million. At this level, the interior stops looking like a helicopter and starts looking like a private jet. You have active vibration control and soundproofing. So good you don't need headsets to talk. You have custom-built bulkheads with hidden espresso machines and chilled champagne, poured by your personal assistant. Who owns this? The Fortune 500 CEO, or the billionaire who realizes that driving to an airport, even for a private jet, takes too much time. This machine competes directly with light jets, but it goes point to point, office roof to factory roof. You aren't just paying a pilot anymore. You are funding an entire aviation department just to avoid runways. Level 5. The super-yacht accessory. At this level, the helicopter ceases to be your primary mode of transport. It becomes an accessory to an even larger asset. You're spending upwards of $15 to $18 million for a marine-configured machine with folding blades, reinforced landing gear, and heavy anti-corrosion treatments. The catch? To actually justify this level, you first need to own a super yacht big enough to carry it. Who buys this? The billionaire who refuses to wait for a tender boat to get from the Monaco harbor to their floating palace. It requires specialized pilots trained for landing on a pitching deck in open water and mechanics who constantly wash salt water out of the turbines. It is the ultimate flex, buying a $15 million aircraft just to use it as a taxi between the mainland and your boat. Level 6. The ultra-heavy VIP, the flying penthouse. This is where the helicopter truly matches the physical scale of a large private jet. You're writing a check for $25 to $30 million. Remember when we said you couldn't stand up in a corporate helicopter? You can here. The cabin is over 6 feet tall. It has a full enclosed lavatory. And yes, because this machine can carry up to 15 passengers in absolute luxury, you now have a dedicated flight attendant. Who is here? royal family members, massive oil tycoons, and billionaires who never travel alone. At this level, you aren't just moving yourself, you're moving an ecosystem. A lead security officer, advisors, a personal assistant, and your family. It costs over $5,000 an hour just to keep the rotors spinning. But when your net worth is measured in the tens of billions, interacting with public infrastructure is considered a security risk, not an inconvenience. Level 7, the final level, the unbuyable. This is head of state territory. This is where aviation stops being a luxury and starts being a tool of global political power. You cannot buy this machine. No matter how many billions you have, you don't write a check for a Marine One. These are flying command centers. They feature missile defense systems, encrypted satellite links, and armor plating that can stop heavy machine gun fire. Inside, you have a secure communication suite that allows the leader to launch a nuclear strike or manage a war from 5,000 feet in the air. The pilots are not employees. They are elite military officers with the highest security clearances who have sworn an oath to protect the person in the back at all costs. Level 7 is the only level where the product isn't the machine. It's the authority it represents. At this point, you don't just bypass traffic. When you take off, commercial aviation literally hits pause. Now that we've covered the 7 levels, we need to address the promise we made at the beginning. Why smart billionaires often don't buy helicopters outright, and how they remain completely invisible. This is the fractional ownership we promised you. In high-stakes business, a helicopter is not an asset. It is a mathematical black hole. Unlike a private jet, a helicopter literally shakes itself to death during operation. The maintenance costs are astronomical. Why own 100% of the problems when you only need 100 hours of flight? Fractional programs like HeliFlight or FlexJet's helicopter division allow you to buy 1/8 of a machine, giving you guaranteed access, but making the management company handle the fuel, the pilots, and the engine rebuilds. The second reality, even a $75 million private jet is useless without a helicopter. It is the answer to the last mile problem. What is the point of crossing the Atlantic at Mach 0.95 in total luxury if you are then stuck in traffic for 2 hours trying to get from JFK Airport to Wall Street? The helicopter is the vital link that ensures your door-to-door time actually matches your wealth. Office roof to factory roof to airport tarmac. And finally, the most critical element of high-level wealth, privacy. In the age of Twitter tracking bots, your private jet is a public billboard. To track a jet, you know exactly which airport it will land at. To track a helicopter, you just need to open your eyes. It is the only asset that activates ghost mode. They can take off from a secure roof and land in a private compound without passing through a public terminal, custom checks, or traffic cameras. For real power, the true luxury isn't the machine. It's the anonymity it buys. If this was useful, subscribe. I break down how things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.